based on what we know is right or not in the district.
I'd like to call this board meeting to order. If everyone could take their seats, I'd like to ask that all cell phones be turned off at this time. And if anyone would like to address the board, you would see Miss Douglas over here. She would you fill out a speaker's card with her, and we would greatly appreciate it. And I would like to call on Brother Terry Wright to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay. He's going to pray.
Well, he's-
Okay, yeah.
If you read the
I'm
agenda,
pledging, he's
right
praying.
after the Pledge of
Yeah.
Allegiance, okay?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Brother Chad Perry, please.
Let's pray together. Father God, we're mindful today of your presence with the shootings nearby. We thank you for your watch care. We thank you for your mercy and your grace. Our hearts go out to the families that were involved, Lord, and we ask, Lord, that you would hold them and keep them and sustain them. At the same time, we're so grateful for all the students that were safe and out of harm's way. Lord, today, as we get closer to the National Day of Prayer and Mother's Day, we recognize that we need you in our nation, we need you in our homes, and Lord, we need you in our schools, our classrooms, and even in these chambers today as we conduct business, Lord. We need your wisdom and your guidance. Give it to us. In the precious and holy name of Jesus Christ we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you so much. Please be seated.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
could I ask if Mr. Wilfredo Irizarry is here at this time? There he is. Mr. Wilfredo Irizarry, would you come up to the microphone first? I got a call this afternoon that he would be able to be here, and I just,
Look right without a band.
without his band, I know. He is the band director of Interlochen High School, and I just wanted him to have the opportunity to tell you about their most recent accomplishment before we get started on our other presentations.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
As you heard, Wilfredo Irizar, the band director at Interlochen High School. This is my fourth year there, and we have taken 2 trips to Atlanta in those 4 years, the most recent being April 21st through the 24th. And the trip is a band competition trip, which we competed with the symphonic band, the jazz band, and for the first time, from my understanding, in the history of Interlochen High School, the chorus also competed, which is, for me personally, the big accomplishment there, starting the choral program 4 years ago and now going to competitions and competing. I think that is a fantastic feat for them, and just to get the ball rolling with a new addition to the music program. Before I go on to the accomplishments, one of the things that I'd like to start with is we started competing actually when I was going to school there with Mr. Albanese. The first time we went to the Southern Star Music Festival was in 1993. So it has been something that Mr. A has started, and it's been a tradition to go to many different places, including Colorado, Pennsylvania. They even went to Canada, and they were actually invited to perform in England, Westminster Abbey, and that they have been a traveling and competing group for a while. So to continue the tradition, first of all, is an honor for me to honor not just the school, but my band director and now our music supervisor for the county, Mr. Albanese. He once said that he didn't do these trips just for the competition. That actually kind of was the purpose of it, but the main purpose was to expose the students to new cultures and new places, and I didn't get it at first. It's about the music, and it has to be about the music, and we went 2 years ago. We, of course, competed, but we also went to the Georgia Aquarium, and we went to Six Flags. That's part of the competition. We did the aquarium in addition to the Six Flags on our own. And to see the looks on the students' faces, first of all, for some of them being out of the state for the first time, and for some of them being out of Putnam County for the first time, that's when it hit me. And I understood what he was talking about, the experience that they would probably not get in many other places became what the trip was about. Because we play and we compete and we have 30 concerts a year, that's nothing new to us. But seeing something, a whale shark, not just on YouTube, internet, but seeing it in real life, that it would take up almost this entire room, is something fantastic for them to see. And we were able to go to the aquarium again and do Six Flags and just be together as an ensemble and as students and represent Interlochen and Putnam County. I thought that was fantastic. When we went 2 years ago, the symphonic band was the only group that performed, and we did get a gold standard, which is equivalent to a superior, which is the highest mark we can get. And this year, we achieved that again with the symphonic band and the jazz band. The choral program got a bronze, which I'm proud of because they went out there, all 11 of them, and performed out in an auditorium that's made to sit 500 people. And I think it's fantastic that they went out there. And they went first also, 9:30 in the morning. So, and they loved it. They really enjoyed it, and we're able to bring that back with them. But in addition to receiving the gold standards for symphonic band and jazz band, which the symphonic band, we took 24 of our members. We couldn't take everyone to raise money and everything. And the 24-member symphonic band also received what's called the Sweepstakes Award, which is pretty much the highest scoring for that category. So out of all the bands that went high school, including bands from Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, and both of the Carolinas, we scored the highest in the category for that weekend.
Very nice.
Awesome.
And to top that off, the jazz band also was awarded the Sweepstakes Award for their category in jazz band. So
Wonderful.
very fantastic trip, and continuing the tradition that was started many, many years ago. I'm really proud of the students, the hard work that they put in, and just the dedication to just making music and learning and providing that. So
Thank you so much
Thank
for all
you.
you do.
The superintendent said you better win or else. She'll talk to you.
I just wanted you to hear that your contribution to the bands in Putnam County is paying off. And certainly anytime we do anything for students, there is a payoff.
Yes.
And this one is greater because certainly students in Interlochen and Crescent City probably get outside the county less than most. And to have this opportunity and actually see a whale shark and what that does for students when you actually see it in real life, it can make a difference in the opinions that those children have, certainly about our environment and how important it is. And so we get many benefits out of one trip and a great band and a wonderful band director. So thank you so much for all you do for our children.
thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love is that he's homegrown.
That
Absolutely.
he is a living example of a
Absolutely.
student who grew up here in Putnam County, in West Putnam and Interlochen, and went to college and came back
for coming
and is
back.
now
Thank you for coming back.
one of our teachers. Thank you so
We had
much.
a workshop earlier and we kept talking about the elephant in the room. Now when he said whale shark, you kept
Well,
looking at
whale
me.
shark in the room.
Why do you keep looking at me, Kathy? Okay. Anyway,
Thank you.
Ms. Criswell, would you like to bring up this next presentation?
We have several presentations today that I'm excited about, and certainly our first one is about Boys State. And Stan Owens, would you come up and introduce the gentleman you have with you and have them come up? And we're going to have you award these certificates today. We're really excited about this. And if you all could talk about your experience and introduce your special guest who came today, too.
Hi, Stan.
I'm Stan Owens. I'm Vice Commander of the local Palatka Post 45 American Legion. I have a few people with me here that helped me very much in selecting the candidates that we'll be talking about here in a moment. Our district commander, who was over 16 posts here in northeast Florida, is Bruce Howell. Virginia Wagonic, she's a Korean War veteran. I believe you were a nurse at
No, sir, I was in communication.
communication. I'm sorry, I thought you had a nursing background. Okay. Anyway, Virginia, she served in during the Korean War, and then we have our present commander, Charles Gauthier, U.S. Marine Corps, and he served during the Vietnam era as well. I tell you what, if you'd like to sit down, be more comfortable, then you won't have to stand here while I ramble on. These ladies and gentlemen also helped do the final interviews for our candidates that we selected for Boys State. Let me tell you a little bit about what Boys State is. And by the way, we have a corresponding program called Girls State, very similar. In the state of Florida, the American Legion has for the last 73 years been sponsoring the Boys State program. And what it is designed to do is to teach Americanism and how government operates for students, in this case boys, between the 11th and 12th grade year. And the purpose of the program is Boys State is a comprehensive one-week course in state and local government developed to offer you a better perspective of the practical operation of government and show how an individual is responsible for the character and success of his government. And there's a whole lot more I could read there, but basically what they're going to be doing is they're going to be spending a week in Tallahassee, which is our state capital. Now this is going on in every state. At the end of the session, of course, we'll be having several hundred from Florida up there. And at the end of each session, they boys themselves, the candidates, they will vote and pick two to go to Washington, D.C. And at that point, you have two from each state going up there and two from D.C. area itself. And they get the chance to spend some time up there and see how government operates. But while they're here for the week in Florida, the objectives are to develop civic leadership and pride in American citizenship, to arouse a keen interest in the detailed study of our government, and to develop in our citizens a determination to maintain our form of government, primarily by bringing them to the realization of how great it is to be an American. They will, during that week, be staying on the grounds near the Capitol. They'll be going to the Capitol every day, and each day they'll learn more from speakers. First day will be kind of an orientation where they learn how to negotiate the Capitol. If anybody's been to our Capitol and been through their elevator system, it's one of those, you've been there, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm afraid I have.
It's one of those you cannot get there from here in a straight line. Go up to one floor, change elevators, go to another. So it's just to get around the place is quite an education. They will then spend time in the different rooms there that they have with speakers and meet with many of our officers up there, the state and county representatives and so forth, and virtually be shadowing them around. At the end of the week there, they will actually then, the Boys State group will actually produce bills, just like they would be doing normally in the congressional and Senate area. And some of these bills that they have created have actually been passed into law. An example that you probably have seen around if you're driving down the highway, when you see a blue reflector in the road, what does that mean?
Fire hydrant.
Fire hydrant, very good. And around Palatka, where the grass grows a little high on the side of the road, you don't want to pull over there either because you might find it. But the purpose of that, of course, is to allow the firemen, or firefighters, when they're approaching an area and need water, they can see from quite a distance that blue reflector. And I thought that was a very good idea. And that was actually brought about by the delegates that we had up there at Boys State a number of years ago, back in the 70s. So some of these laws actually go into effect and will affect us. So There are a number of various, while they're up there, they will also be competing for a number of scholarships. I won't go into all the details on it, but there are a number of scholarships available that actually the winners are voted on by the participants that they're up there with, the other boys in this program. Okay. So anyway, we do offer a number of scholarships. The program dates are June 19th to June 25th, so it's from Saturday to Saturday. We have here in the room here several of those who competed. We had a great help from Ms. Criswell here and all of her people in the various schools to pick representatives for each one of the schools. And we had, well, actually it came down to 3 high schools represented in the end. From QI Roberts, we had Owen Meeks, and he is here. If you'd stand, please. And
As cute as his daddy.
we had 2 from Crescent City, Nathaniel Miller, and Jeremiah Gilliard, right? Just come up. And we had 1 from Interlochen, and that would be Oscar Martinez. And I don't think he was able to make, he's working, which is good for him, but he had a job and couldn't get off. There he goes. And their parents are here with them too.
We'd like a picture with all of you guys, and then we'll get a picture with the parents as well.
Oh,
So
very good.
come on.
We'll have the parents up shortly and we'll get our picture here. Okay. Yes.
We'll come over here, and Kurt's gonna get us all arranged. Yes. I have a picture.
You're in the picture too, right?
Come on, tell me how it feels. I rang her and was like, oh, I'm not gonna pay you rent.
Now, could we have the parents come up, please? Boys State has been around for a long time, even back when Mr. Buckles was in high school. Unfortunately, he didn't get to go. Others were picked his senior year, but way back in 1970.
Just like his
That's
mom
when
and
Miss
daddy.
Criswell was my teacher, and yeah, she didn't adequately prepare me.
Paid for it herself and picked it up.
Thank you.
I know we've had several from around here. Excuse me. Also, I just found out we have a former Boys State candidate. Have you to introduce yourself and
Sure.
explain that it wasn't from Florida?
Absolutely. Pastor Chad, alumni, Boys State, 1986.
What state?
Yeah. State of Louisiana.
There you go.
I was also one of those selected to go to Washington, D.C.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and one of our bills became law. So if you've ever seen a dump truck, you know they used to not have covers on them.
Really?
They have covers now because of the bill we wrote. Amen.
There you go.
I'm glad he shared that.
That is great.
Chad?
That is great.
Chad, for
We
you,
have had a number from this county. In fact, a couple in your school system we were in contact with. Do you remember their names? Or right offhand? Were present here at a previous meeting. So, but anyway, it's an excellent program.
And I think our attorney,
Yes, he was.
He was Boy State.
Charlie Douglas, in
Oh, were you?
1998.
Yep.
Yes. Boys
like
State
an
is a
alumni
big deal.
meeting
It
here,
looks
okay.
great on a college resume, so.
He was an alternate. I was superintendent. I remember.
He was not.
Ms. Criswell just brought this up too. As this is a national program, well respected, it looks very good on a college resume. Even if you weren't the one maybe that's going, but just to be a finalist don't forget to put that on your resumes.
Absolutely.
Now,
That's
right.
the actual, and it was a difficult task. Once they narrowed it down, they sent 4 fine gentlemen that we had to interview, and we spent a lot of time and anguish trying to come up with, which one. We wanted to send all of them. But Owen Meeks, if you stand up, he is our candidate. Thank you all. And your parents that are here, you certainly have some boys here to be proud of, young men, really.
Well, I just would like to say that I taught both of his parents, and I am not the least bit surprised that he is your selection, because they were both wonderful.
It was
Still
very
are.
difficult.
She taught me when I was a little boy in the 3rd grade.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stan, for being here today.
Good to see you, Stan.
And one final awesome thing about these 4 young men, they're juniors. They will be back at their high schools next year, and they are awesome leaders. And I know Michelle is here today. She's principal at Crescent City Junior Senior High, soon to be Crescent City High School, because of what we're doing there. And we're very proud of these young men, and just happy, and I know their principals love them dearly. And thank you, parents, for a wonderful job. Now, if we could give you all the other children in the school system and let you do this with them.
Ms. Chris,
Thank you all for being here today.
would you take care of our next honored
All right,
guest?
we're very excited today to have with us some. Well, I'm going to let him introduce it. Tim, if you'd all just come on up to the microphone. This presentation will be from the Putnam County Environmental Council, and we're really excited about this. So I'm going to let Tim tell you all about it.
Thank you, Ms. Griswold. Board, members of the board, members of the audience. My name's Timothy Kaiser. I'm president of the Putnam County Wildlife Federation. I'm honored for the invitation to speak today, and I'm pleased to give a report today on the Putnam County Environmental Council's first annual Earth Day poster contest for high school youth in Putnam County. Just for a little background, the organization was formed in 1991 as a voluntary association. It was incorporated in 1998 and is a 501c3 tax-exempt charitable organization. It's dedicated to the conservation of natural resources and advocates environmental responsibility in private and public activities. The contest, the idea for the contest came out of an annual meeting in December 2015. We developed a theme for our poster contest, which was the celebration of waters in Putnam County. All county high school art students were eligible. We contacted the art teachers in the county public and private schools. We had 3 high schools that participated. The goal was to encourage the study of the county's natural resources and environment, and the students were to show their perceptions through art. And boy, did they. Ann Hamilton mentioned to me, one of the art teacher at the Interlochen High School, mentioned to me that she had the students study and research local waters before they started their art project, which I thought was a great educational tie-in. The results were astounding, really. We had 64 total entries from 3 high schools. We gave out 3 awards. Annie, would you start showing our awards? She's going to show them in the order that they were given. The first one is number 1. And we also had 15 honorable mentions that we don't have with us today. But
Oh, very nice.
and that particular student told me her inspiration for that work of art, the title is, read that title, Annie? The Day Before. Her inspiration was Beecher Springs. You might recognize it when you see it. That's first place. Show second place. And read the title. Is the title Earth Pond?
She's from Interlochen. Yes.
Okay, great. That's our second place winner. That was by, the first and second place winners were from Interlochen High School. Oh yeah, I should give the names, yeah.
See?
Destiny Wiggin. And what's the name of the first place winner?
That may be.
Hannah Cox was first place. This is the second place winner. And show the third place. Which a lot of people, when they see third place, they wonder why that's not first place. But it was really hard to decide.
I want to buy this one.
Oh, gosh, that's gorgeous.
Oh, wow, look at that reflection. Very nice.
They're all beautiful.
You should just about all 64 were really worthy. We had a hard time culling it down to just a few. Now, the judges were Melanie Ann Wagner, who's a professional artist, lives in Melrose, and Sarah Alexander, who's a art teacher at the St. Johns River Community College, and our own Annie Spetlik, who has some artistic background of her own. The three teachers that participated greatly were Aaron Delaney of Crescent City High School, Ann Hamilton of Interlochen High School, and Mike Everett of Palaca High School. We gave prizes for the honorable mentions and the first, second, and third place winner, and we ended up giving $600 to the three schools in various amounts for their art class needs. And I have to say, in closing, that I found this particular project very inspirational. It was the most successful community outreach program I can recall of our organization. I was personally very encouraged and hopeful for the future of our environment because of what I saw these students do. And the youth, through their art, showed their understanding of the importance of water and of the other natural resources of the county to everybody today and to future generations. Equally impressive, I think you'll agree, is the talent and skill of the students that was demonstrated by their work. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Kaiser, and I'll give you the certificates. You may want to hold one up and let everybody see the certificates that were done for the students. And one of our art teachers from Interlochen High School, Ann Hamilton, is here today. Ann, stand up.
Tim, thanks for what you guys do.
We do
it.
appreciate
So
what you
much.
do. Now, we've seen music today and art, and you know, we have musical theater going on. We have awesome things. We could fill hours upon hours of awesome things happening in Putnam County schools with our students. We have so many talented students. Thank you for being here today. I appreciate it.
Next on our agenda would be Dr. Anand M. Kuravilla, a longtime friend of everyone in Putnam County, and we welcome you to come to the microphone, Doc. Fortunately, Miss Crawford did not teach him in school.
No, I couldn't have done that.
Dr. Kirby, how are you?
Thank you, Ms. Criswell, and members of the board and the public. I'll try and make this brief, but doctors can't make things brief, so. May I pass this down? You can just take a look at this.
Thank you.
I have a presentation. I'll try and do it quickly. It's to do with cutting down, trying to reduce the, how do you turn it on? Maybe that one there. Great. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So, we are trying to apply for a grant with the state to help with breast cancer. And if you have noticed, there were tags being sold with breast cancer for fundraising, and the state raised a lot of money, and now they're trying to give it back to the counties to try and influence what's going on with breast cancer in the state of Florida. So we have over the approximately 14,000 people diagnosed with breast cancer annually in Florida, and over the past 4 years, I don't have that to share with all of you, but there have been approximately 300 patients who are diagnosed in Putnam County, and of those we've lost about 60. And that's really a tragedy, because breast cancer, if diagnosed early, is pretty much 100% curable. So why is it that we are losing people? In the state, we've lost about 3,000 in 2010 when they looked at it, but I know in Putnam we've lost 61, I think, over the last 4 years. So the problem is that patients are coming with more advanced disease that makes it impossible to cure them, which again is totally unnecessary. So we have this issue. It's all over the state, but let's concern ourselves with our own county. There are, folks without insurance. There are racial disparities. African Americans tend to have less opportunity to get health care in some instances. We have a large migrant population. But I think the biggest problem that I see is people just don't get it. So I've had patients just this last month. Both the parents of this 85-year-old are college educated, and then the mother comes with very advanced cancer. And I don't think they realize that the thought that, if you are become a senior citizen, you got to perhaps back off treatment. And what happens then is that the senior citizen can suffer needlessly. So I think if we have educated people with this kind of misconception, what do you expect the rest of the population to have, right? So the state actually has come up with the thought to try and approach this differently, to try and start the education early. And I'm now going to shift gears and talk about the Putnam First Cancer Fund. That's an organization that I'm representing here. Mr. Douglas is in our executive committee, as are many other folks. And this particular organization is something we should be proud of. There are very few of like this that I know of, but it was established in Putnam in 2014. And the whole purpose of the exercise is to help people who may have cancer. They don't even have to have it, even if they suspect they have it, but are having problems getting access to care, to try and nip it early in the bud, so that because they can't get access, we don't want to have to deal with them when they come with big-time disease. So part of the job we've taken upon ourselves is, in addition to assisting people for various needs, but also try and do some education in terms of increasing awareness and early detection and so on and so forth. So this request from the state to the counties to see if we could possibly do something in our county, we thought this was really up our cup of tea. So we are applying for this grant, and I'm hopeful we'll get it. So the target population is young ladies from perhaps the 10th grade on and higher. We're also talking to the local college. They are also supportive. And we're also going to the physicians and saying, hey, would you consider allowing us to send a letter to your female patients, and so we can alert them as to what the patient needs to know, and subconsciously also teach the doctor, right? Because sometimes the doctors are part of the problem. In the sense that they forget to do things, it doesn't hurt to ask the doctor, hey, how about my mammogram, or how about my PSA blood test? Doesn't hurt. So this grant is a one-year thing, but we intend to do this in perpetuity. But the idea is to do it 4 times a year and focus to Palatka, South Putnam, which would be Crescent City and Willaca, and West Putnam, and eventually even the Ocala Forest area. And we are approaching the school board with permission to consider allowing us to educate the children. And I'm not sure how we do that, in terms of having to meet with the college school principals And so what we were thinking is to keep it simple is first get permission from the parents. Is it okay to teach your children this? And also use it as an opportunity to invite them. Because we really want them to drag in their aunts and mothers and grandmothers and sisters, right? So because the idea is to get this word out. And as I said, we're going to do something similar with the college. And what we will do is keep it simple. We'll have a PowerPoint presentation, and in that we will teach them what is breast cancer, what is it that they need to look for, what are the things they could do to prevent it, which I'm going to talk about a little, which people don't talk about. Clearly, early detection is a must, right? As I stated, there's absolutely no need in this country for any woman to die of breast cancer. And then remove all the fears of treatment, because the reality is that the good news is when a lady is diagnosed with breast cancer and she comes early, within 6 months you won't even know which side was treated, let alone, it's really, our treatments have come a long way. But there's a tremendous fear, and we have patients ladies who find it and then go under the closet and hide because they're terrified. And they're terrified because they're scared of treatment. They really don't have to be. So I think that's our fault. We are not doing a good job telling them what the treatment is, not all that bad sort of thing. So we'll try and do this. We've not done this before, but we're going to try and do dual, concurrent, bilingual presentations so we can hit all segments of the community with at one time. So, we'll figure that one out. And a little about prevention. So this is a funky statement, but the only way to reduce risk is to minimize the things that create risk and maximize that which reduces risk. So what that means is the problem with breast cancer is diet. And this is a typical American diet. So it's going to be very difficult for us to change this for a gazillion years. You can't tell people you can't expect people to stop eating the cheeseburgers. It's not going to happen. So now you have, the other thing you could do is you could decrease the risk by considering folks eating this sort of stuff. Green tea, soy, mushrooms. So you're not telling them don't eat your cheeseburger. Maybe don't eat a full cheeseburger, take a small cheeseburger, but add this sort of stuff to your diet. So what that will do is, so this is that statement. It's more realistic to suggest they add something else to the diet, right? You can have your cheeseburger, but eat other stuff too. And that's what the statement was trying to say, that you minimize the bad stuff and increase the good stuff. So if you combine mushrooms with green tea, so sip a tea bag worth of green tea every day along with half a mushroom, it's supposed to drop the breast cancer risk by a huge amount, right? So the thing is, you got to start young, right? So if you start at my age, it's not going to happen. But if you start when you're 15, it is going to happen. So that's why I think the state is onto a good thing. We really need to get the word to the children and do it in a fun way. And if anybody's interested, I'll give you this complicated slide. But it's an interesting thing that what it basically says, that in Asia, women, breast cancer rates are very low because they're drinking a lot of tea and mushrooms and soy and so on and so forth, right? The Asian woman comes here, she gets herself into trouble if she stops eating that stuff. Right? So it's kind of thought to things to consider. So that's the presentation. I hope it didn't take too long.
I would like to, as chairman, just ask or direct the superintendent to try to find a way to get with science teachers and principals to find a way to notify the young ladies at our school.
Well, I think I'm going to work with Dr. K on that. We just needed your permission to allow us to do this with our students in our schools. And that's basically what this presentation is about, to make you aware of what he's doing, the grant he's pursuing, and what it could mean for the community based on the presentations we can make to the students.
So what I was hoping is to be able to, in, say, Palatka High School, go ask them to give us 1 hour any day of the week, any time of the day, but preferably after school hours so that parents can come. And then we would clear the presentation with the principals to make sure that it's appropriate for the children.
Dr. K, the only problem with that is that it's very, very hard to get parents to come back to the school. So we'll work to find the
Best time,
best way to
Sure.
reach the most people.
sure. Absolutely. Whatever, we will work
And,
with
you know, and that may be that, but
Sure.
I haven't had a whole lot
Dr.
of
K,
luck
will you
getting
be doing the
them back.
presentation?
Myself, and I got to find somebody who can speak Spanish. Poquito Spanish, I'm not going to get very far. But the idea is this, right, we will, it's relatively simple. If you have a slide, you have the same slide in English and Spanish. So
Sure.
let's say you're the Spanish person.
Right.
You do
Right,
your
right.
thing, I do my thing, and then we go to the next slide.
Sure.
And I think that way we can effectively get it done. Otherwise, it's
Absolutely.
difficult to say, let's do it for this community and that community. It's just killing our resources.
To make sure that we reach the young people, I think, Dr. K, we would probably need to do these presentations during the day. And all that would take, certainly the principals are going to be agreeable. I think the board has heard the presentation and understands the health ramifications and are fine with it. And all we would do is send a permission slip home that the students would get signed so that they could attend that during the day. If we also want to offer it at night and ask them to come back with parents or whatever relatives, aunts, so forth, we can certainly do that too. But I don't want to miss out on getting the information to the students who may not come back in the evening. We
Right.
probably need to do that during the day for them.
No worries. So
Okay.
other than, we didn't want to obviously mess up the education, so it could be lunchtime or break hour or whatever works for you.
We'll figure it out.
Well,
We
Dr. K, I
we
just
will
want to say thank
certainly
you for
make that happen.
caring about community health.
Yeah,
Yes.
appreciate
Because
that.
it'd be easy to sit in your practice and just do your work, but thank you for caring about the community, so.
Thank you.
Yes.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
Thank
So
very
thank you
much.
for the opportunity, y'all.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. K.
Our next presentation will be Mr. Aaron Weeks to propose an offer to purchase the Campbell Building, 200 South 7th Street, Palaca, Florida.
I want to see it.
Probably just right in the middle, you could, so they can see it, and you can turn it around for the people in the audience later. Right now, so the board can see it. Thank you, Aaron, for being
There's my-
here.
Elementary classrooms.
Did you go to school there, Jane?
Yes, I went to school there.
That was only 3 or 4 years ago. Phyllis, did you go to school there?
What?
Did you go to school at the Campbell Building?
Yes, it was my elementary school.
Mine too.
Long time ago. Won't
It
tell
wasn't
you.
that
shut
long
up,
ago.
And Aaron, I have Stephen standing by there from our IT department if you'd like some help.
Yeah, if you can center that for me, one page at a time. I don't know. Well, the first slide there, you know where the building is, so we can get past that.
I'm gonna
But,
Don't often get to see an aerial view, though. That's nice.
There's my grandmother's house.
Mr. Weeks, could you hand that to me so I can see it? Can we pass around? Because I can't.
There's 2 of them here. and,
Okay,
one
I
is
just can't see it very well.
The first one is the first floor, and the one behind is the second floor.
Okay,
So
thank you.
what the heading of the presentation is a presentation for offer. And actually, I'd really like just to have a dialogue with the board. I believe having dialogue independently was frowned upon. So I'd like to have a dialogue about what your intentions are.
Behind the microphone, I'm sorry, that way as they're recording it, will pick up everything.
Sorry.
No worries. So, again, what I'd like to do is have a dialogue with the board about the intentions for the Campbell Building. I met with, I don't know, it was just a spur of the moment, Ms. Criswell invited me to speak, and I just gave her some background about some of the research I had done in the property. And you can see from the conceptual plans, I retained CRG Architects. Obviously, they they designed this space. So I worked with them in the past and felt they were a good fit and had them do a concept plan for apartments inside of the Campbell building. And what that concept, it is a concept. I'll see if I can bring it up here. Just scroll down. Yeah. This is the existing floor plans. So this is I don't know if you guys can see the monitors, I apologize, but what we came up with, obviously two-story building, we wanted to maximize the usability, and we came up with, I think, 24 units, varying from studio types to 3-bedroom, anything from 600 square foot to 1,700 square feet. So that is a concept plan. In doing some of my research, that was one of the things to do at the beginnings. How well does the building work? And Scott took us through the building, and just so we could get a feel for it. Obviously, CRG had done work there in the past with some of their modeling projects, so they were familiar with the building. Again, they're a good fit for my purposes. So I commissioned this concept plan. I've also gone and talked to the tax assessors, the fire marshal, the building department chief. I've talked to planning and zoning. And the reason I initiated the conversation with Phyllis was that I've done everything I can do for free. So in order for me to investigate whether or not this is a good opportunity for apartment or another use, I need to start spending money. So what that would mean would be hiring our own surveys, our own title work, our own due diligence, letting Scott open the door and have us crawl around underneath it to see if, whether the termites are still at bay, updating the environmental reports and so forth. So with that in mind, the real reason I'm here is to talk to the board about what their intentions are. Is there a desire to negotiate the sale of this property? Is there a desire to, and I don't want to go through a lot of details about my findings so far because I don't know what your intent would be, if there'd be a public RFP process or what it would be, but I do have interest in the property. I believe that we can put it, not only reduce your square footage requirement statewide, but we could also put a valuable piece of property back on the city of Palatka tax rolls. My estimates preliminarily somewhere, I think it's appraised right now, 1.4 million. I believe that would be closer to 2 million by the time we would be done, maybe 2.5. So it'd definitely be something to be in the best interest of the community, get it back on the tax roll, something to be done with it. As I made it very clear, there are a lot of projects out there. If this project did not make sense financially, as well as a good fit for the community, this would not be something that I would be interested in trying to squeeze a square peg in a round hole. It has to be low-hanging fruit, so to speak, as far as viability, not necessarily economics and some outrageous return, but it's not something that I would be interested in working with to try and convince the South Historic District to put a disco club there or something ridiculous. It has to be something that at first glance, it looks like it could be apartments.
We have directed the board attorney to negotiate a sale on this property, so he would be, and I guess the board can all weigh in on this, that is our intent, but he would be the one you would need to talk to, and he'll report back to us on the negotiations and the process.
Sure.
I don't mean to sound rude, but who are you and where are you from? And
I actually am a resident of Palatka. I've lived here for about a year.
Okay.
I came up to work on the St. John's
River Center?
River Center.
Okay.
And I stayed. I love it here. I live in Emmett Street, 417 Emmett. So we've really enjoyed the community and got to know several members of the South Historic District. So it's important to me to present something that would not only be favorable for the community, but wouldn't meet a lot of obstacles. So with that in mind, I went and talked to Thad over at the city, planning and zoning, and seems to be that would be a concept the city would really embrace instead of, shy away from. So.
We would hope so, yeah.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I would just say, yeah, as far as intent to sell, that's where I am. So,
Yeah.
what you do with it, and I'm not being crass, but what you do is your business. But,
Agreed.
You know.
It is.
Well, it matters to me.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter to me.
in that same-
Because I'm looking out for we just need
Right.
to sell it, so.
Mr. Griswold said that I think verbatim, those exact same words, what you do with it is your business. But yes and no, because it's not something that I would entertain if it weren't accepted.
You don't want to get run out of town, so you're going to be.
Yeah, I live like less than a block and a half away.
Yeah, right.
So-
Well, we
People
know
will
the
find
city
out.
won't let you do just anything
Right.
with it, but I was
Right.
excited to see the plans.
Yeah.
You are the second person that has talked to me about possibly doing this kind of thing with this building, and I'm just ready for somebody to do that. Certainly, the board and myself would love for it to go back on the tax rolls for the city, but to add living space in downtown would be incredible, especially at the level that you plan to do, and what that could do for Palatka, and especially downtown Palatka, to me is very exciting. And I hope what it would spur is the growth of the surrounding area, and that others would purchase and renovate in that area. But whatever happens here, certainly what you've drawn is my desire, and I hope the desire of the board.
And-
Yeah, and let me just say, what I meant by that, I didn't mean to be rude.
No, that's-
Yeah, I didn't mean to be rude at all, but, so, I just view my responsibility here is to dispose of that property.
Right.
That is my responsibility as a board member. And so, I'm thankful that you have a great plan. I'm glad you're living here and you're gonna do something that's not gonna get you run out of town. That
Right.
is awesome.
Well, we
but-
intend, there's one of the units on the second floor that we actually would intend to occupy. So it's not something that would be,
Miss Crawford just said she was gonna buy one.
Said I'd
Put her on the
like
other
to.
end.
I didn't say I
Put her
was.
on the other end of the building. How many units total?
right now, this concept shows 24. That number's going to need probably to go up around 28 to make it viable economically. We have some tweaking to do.
So you feel there's space for 28?
Yeah,
couple of those
like
would
one of
be
the
efficiencies, right?
units is 1,700 square feet.
Oh, wow, that's a big
It's a big unit.
apartment.
So we took a look at it, how does it naturally lay out with walls where the existing structure, and again, Bob knows that building, so this is our first concept, our first run at it.
You can't tell much from the plan about what the exterior. You're not planning on changing that a whole lot, are you?
Yeah. This concept shows, and if you look at the, I guess they would be the buildings at a little bit of so it'd be the east and the west elevations. There are patio features out in front. Each unit on the east and west, which is the top and the bottom, would have their own exit from the first floor, and that would be the only change. I have actually talked to several members of the South Historic Districts about what expectations would be to do that, as well as the city and their requirements. So we would not be looking to change the building architecturally. Again, it has to very quickly get approval and acceptance. It's not something we would want to fight about. There's too many other good projects out there.
Mr. Douglas knows exactly what to do, and you and he can,
As far as
Together,
the
try to negotiate.
investigative process, though, would you mentioned getting in there, doing all the things more extensively, would you rather do that before making an offer, or is that kind of?
Well, no, I or any other person who would be interested in the development really needs to control the property. And the way we would do that was through a refundable type deposit. We can, work all those items out. And then any reports that I would generate during that due diligence process would be certified not only to myself, but also the school board, so that you would have that for your own knowledge and benefit. So you wouldn't be wasting time for somebody to go through a due diligence period if it didn't work out for our organization, if someone else came to the table, you say, well, it's all been done, here it is. So, and I would do that all that due diligence at my cost, obviously. But I have to be able to, I can't initiate those fees and then have it sold to somebody else.
I can't imagine making a refundable payment on a property and then somebody else come along and want to buy it, and then I mean, that's something Charlie would have to advise us on, whether we wanted to take a payment that's non-refundable, take a chance on it. I don't know, but I've been under the building, if you can believe. I know you said there was an elephant room a while ago. There's some nice pine timbers under there, but I know you haven't looked at them yet, and I would imagine that you want to see them, so.
Right.
That'll be up to the majority of the board on how they accept Mr. Douglas's recommendation.
Well,
I can see a refundable deposit if he's investing money in reports that we're gonna get to keep, so
Yeah.
I have no trouble with a refundable
Yeah.
deposit as long as it's legal.
Is there a time frame you would say, I want 60 days to do testing, and in that 60-day period, we agree not to sell the property?
Right.
We give you first rights to
Well,
make an offer.
Hang on now, Charlie was gonna negotiate this, and I mean, it's really, we can all have different feelings. I mean, we could say you have 60 days, but if somebody comes along and offers
I was just
$4
giving
million,
an
I mean, we
example.
ought to be able to give them their money back and sell
Backs
the
it up,
property, but that'll be up to Charlie
Yeah.
and Mr. Weed, yeah.
But I mean, it's some kind of, he's looking for some kind of answer to start next week doing testing. He doesn't need, he's looking to the board. I'm asking Charlie for a feasible 30-day, 60-day, some
thought
type
you were
of,
talking to him.
no, a timeline, just something he's looking for that would
I'm
be a
sorry.
feasible, move forward. Correct? You want to move forward testing? Exploring?
And I think we'd like him to move forward.
Yeah,
We want to
absolutely.
sell it.
Sure.
Okay.
But that'll be for Mr. Douglas to work out, negotiate, and get back to us.
okay.
All right, well, thank you.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you
Thank you so much.
Good luck.
Good luck.
I want to see Bob Goodwin. When you put Bob under that building, call me. We put a GoPro camera on his helmet and see what we can do. All right, moving on, we'll go to public comments, and I have a card here from Eddie Stife of the Baccalaureate Service 2016 Central Putnam Association.
Hey,
Hello, Pastor Eddie.
Pastor.
I just want to thank you, Board and Ms. Criswell, for allowing me to be here today. And first off, before I get to that, I just want to say at Palatka High School today, when they went into Code Red, I was in the lunchroom like I am most Tuesdays, and there were my students in my youth group, but also the students at Palatka High, just there to serve the school and to serve the staff and the students. And when that happened, Ms. Hedstrom and Mr. Barnett and their staff, under 5 minutes, had the lunchroom in the middle of lunch. Many of them just got their lunch, had it cleaned out in the halls back into, and had the school completely locked down like you want. They did a phenomenal job, and I just want to just applaud them today and applaud you guys for putting that staff in position for that.
Thank you.
But I am here for the Central Putnam Ministerial Association, and on May the 22nd at 5 p.m. at Grace Fellowship, we are doing our annual baccalaureate service. And after meeting 3 times with the senior class officers and all that afternoon and going through the just different services and talking to them, all right, this is your service. This is your year. You're graduating. They did come together and decided for a guest speaker. Mr. Rick Sorensen has agreed to be our speaker that night for the senior class officers. That was their selection. But I'm here today to invite you to come and join us that Sunday night. And also, Mr. Wright, I'm here to give you the parents' letter that's going to go home to every student. So now you cannot say to your daughter that you did not receive this. And also I have here just a flyer that's hanging up all over Palatka High School and around the community. And just want to personally invite you each out to the baccalaureate service that Sunday evening.
I think I can
What
find the
time
church.
is it?
It's at 5 p.m.
Okay.
And the date again, please?
May 22nd.
May 22nd.
The Sunday.
And so he's going to pass those flyers around to you there so that you can do it. I appreciate you guys. Thanks.
Appreciate what
And
you
it's at
do, and
Grace,
thanks for
Yeah.
working with the kids out there.
Thank you, Eddie.
Wow, these are beautiful.
Okay. No more public comments, Pam? All right, well, we'll move along and go to consent agenda. Board members, do you have any items that you want to pull from the consent agenda, or now is the time to?
I do.
What do you have?
F2,
F2.
I just want to ask Rhonda a couple of questions.
All right.
I didn't have time.
Ms. Jorgensen?
No, thank you.
Ms. Cummings?
I'm good, thank you.
Mr. Wright?
No, sir, I'm fine.
I'm fine. So, Ms. Odom, if you'd come up to.
Wait a minute,
Mr.
Mr.
Chairman.
Chair.
I'd like to make, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda minus F2.
A second?
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. All right, F2, Ms. Odom.
I'll come up. I may have to call Shannon up. Shannon does the quarterly
No, I
investment
just,
report.
I just want you to tell me about all this money and what we're doing with it, what it's for, and
Okay, this is just the district and NEFAC's money that we keep in regular bank accounts or invested out, the timing of money coming in and the timing of expenditures going out. As you can see, the biggest majority of the money, it belongs to NEFAC, and they normally do keep anywhere from a $30 to $50 million balance at all times. That's grant funds, that's local funds that they've earned over the years. As far as the district goes, we don't end up with this much money at year end, but the timing of property taxes coming in, when the big amounts come in November, December, January, and we have expenditures all the way through July 15th for the fiscal year, this money for the Putnam County School District at the top will steadily go down as we pay expenditures for the rest of the year. It's just the timing of the money coming in. We have some of our money invested just in the local bank so we can get our hands on it on a weekly basis to pay the bills of the district and NEFAC, and to pay payroll twice a month. And that's only earning 0.5%. And we have money also invested at Florida Community Bank, and we currently have the max that they allow us.
where's that?
We have an investment advisor that the board approved, Jerry Ford and Associates, here quite a while back, and this was the highest rate of interest that he could get us. Do you recall where Florida Community Bank is? I can't recall, but it's earning 0.45% and even of 1%. And with that much money invested, you would think we could get a lot more, but you truly can't. You know, gone are the days of the SBA when we were getting 5 and 6% on our money.
So that's still about the highest interest
That's still about
rate?
the highest. And the board did approve here a couple of months ago a second company that we can invest with, because we have the maximum amount that Florida Community Bank will let us put in these accounts. Because what this account is they spread the money out over several banks. It's an investment group so that they don't have more in any one bank than what the federal government will cover. And so we will be looking, as I get back in the office and everything, we did approve another one, and we want to see if we can get some more of the money moved, you know, out of Capital City Bank at 0.05 to something a little bit better. But, you know, again, NEFAC keeps a good majority of the money.
Yeah, so that's not ours?
No, I wish it was. Thank you.
Thank you, Rhonda.
All right, we'll need a motion.
I make a motion to approve item F2.
Second?
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. All right, we're moving on to,
Emergency items?
I'm trying to get there, emergency items. I declare us an emergency session. We have 2 emergency items. First, item 1 is overnight trip for Palaca High School track and field team to attend the state championships May 5th through 7th, 2016 in Sarasota. Explanation, justification is it is time sensitive.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I move we approve.
A second?
Motion for Terry Wright and a second for Ms. Crawford. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Next item is a price amendment to guaranteed maximum price for renovation of space leased by First Coast Technical College increase from estimated guaranteed maximum price approved on April 5th, 2015. Explanation, justification, time sensitive, and I would have to ask Mr. Douglas.
I would
if
just ask to
we need to hold
table that.
Table it.
Yes, because I was going to ask Rhonda if that is an acceptable diversion from the original. So yes, tabling it would be a good thing.
I haven't seen it yet, and,
I'd like to make a motion that we table.
Let me just tell you, when Mr. Taylor's office dropped it off, they said the original one approved was an estimate. In the original guaranteed maximum price, that was an estimate. This is the actual one, and it is slightly higher than what they estimated.
Okay.
Scott, is that going to mess us up on any timeline?
But we need to be very careful.
Yeah, and Pam's correct. Basically, they already submitted a GMP that the board approved. That was based on no bids, just we budget this much for this category, et cetera. They've actually come back now with what they presented is actually a true GMP. The work has been bid out, and they've actually been able to, quantify cost associated with different activities. Now,
What's the difference, Scott?
I don't know. I mean, I just saw it for a few minutes right before the meeting started.
Bought it yesterday or the day before.
I haven't gone through and compared it to the original.
It's cost plus agreement, is that what it is?
Well, this is a guaranteed max price. I think it's based on the money that they had left over from their original money that they got from the state.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
He'll come.
In light of,
based on information that was in St. Augustine Record today and a phone call that I received from Dr. Joe Joyner in St. Augustine, I'm wondering if we should table this and
what I
all
was thinking
further
we were
action
tabling
until the investigation is
They're in
complete.
full demo.
I think
they are.
we can do that, but I would defer it to Mr. Douglas to see if this is some legal obligation that we have to meet in spite of what is occurring. So I have a motion from Ms. Jorgensen to table the
I'll
item.
second.
Have a second from Ms. Crawford. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Mr. Chairman, we probably need to ask Scott if he would to have those guys cease and assist anymore.
Well, we probably need to, and I don't know how
How we wanna
we
handle
would go
this.
about that, to be honest with you. We've already issued, we've already approved a GMP.
But we,
Yeah.
They do. We've approved a GMP contract with them.
but we'll have to have Mr. Douglas research this particular situation. It's just occurred. This information just came to us today. So I'll get with Mr. Douglas right after the meeting, and he can determine what steps we should or should not take. And if we have to have an emergency board meeting to discuss it and to move
That's fine.
forward, we will do that.
Sounds good.
Okay, thanks, Scott.
Thank you, Scott.
Hopefully, we can move on with what we're doing.
All right, moving on, I see no old business, I see no new business. Reports from board members.
Already?
Try to bear in mind that we have a Palaca High District Championship game.
At 7.
I was getting ready to mention that.
Terry Wright, I'll invite you to go first and.
Well, I was going to mention the baseball game, but you already did, so that's a great thing. Of course, Mary Poppins going on, a lot of hard work and good work going in there. Also want to comment, I understand people's frustration with government institutions. Government will mess up $1 million gift if they can. All right, so I get that. However, our school system does good things. Are we perfect? Nope. But we do good things. Example today, you saw it several times. If you want to get a great education, if you want to bear in and do something great, there are teachers and leaders here who will help you be great. They will. We can't make you want to, can't force you, but we can present the opportunity for you to do great things. And it happens all over our district all the time. Can we get better? Absolutely we can. We work on that every day. And then finally, just to remind everybody, be careful driving around. It is getting warmer. Kids are out later. I don't know about your community. So just, again, just a safety note. So just, thank you.
Cummings?
Mary Poppins was absolutely amazing. When you talk about talent in our community, I cannot get over the fact that these kids are so talented. It just blows my mind every time I see one of the programs that Mr. Pignano puts on and these kids. So as far as wanting to achieve goals, if you have the desire and the willing to work and be determined, then that's a perfect example of hard work, determination, successful students. They're just absolutely successful. And I do want to say, appreciate all the teachers this week. Please take a moment, send your students teacher an apple, or like Kiwanis thankfully does. That's always sweet. They get an apple from Kiwanis.
We
Thank
sent
you.
them out today.
Yes, thank you Kiwanis for that. And just take the time to write a nice little note, because that's where it really, the rubber meets the road, is when those kids have those teachers that put a smile on their face. They put their personal problems, their personal drama, everything they have going on in their lives, and focus on our children. And that's just amazing to me, that they can always give 110% even when they're sick or not motivated or feeling depressed. They keep on going. So thank you, teachers, for all you do.
Underappreciated.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Crawford.
Well, the first thing I want to say is I got to be a part of, witness the Technical Superstars banquet award ceremony last week, and it was just amazing. The students that we have in our schools that take part in these programs that are such an important aspect of what we do as a district, trying to meet the needs of all of our students. And they were so proud to be a part of that. So I would like to thank Renee Huff and her staff and all of the teachers in our CTE programs for all of the hard work they do day in and day out. Yes, we have a Panther baseball game tonight. We are in the regional semifinals at 7 o'clock at the Azalea Bowl. Last week we got to see them play. There was a huge crowd, and they just did such a great job, and we're hoping they'll do the same thing. And if you don't have dinner before you go, they have got the best food in that concession stand you could ever get. Mary Poppins, you've got to go if you've not been. We have students from every grade level involved in this production. I've seen over 30 Broadway plays in New York, and this rivals any of them. You really need to see it. Still tickets available at Ralph's House of Flowers, or you can get them at the door. Teacher Appreciation Week. Thank a teacher. What they do day in and day out, I'm not sure enough people appreciate what they do. And this time of the year is a time when they're dragging, and it's a hard time of the year, and there's a lot of testing going on, and they're there day in and day out, they're all giving it their best. And then the last thing I want to say, and I guess this is when I'm supposed to say it, we talked about at our last board meeting to talk about what we want to give Miller Middle School Band, and we have not done that yet. So is that something that I need to?
I think that I'm remiss in not getting that back on the agenda, so I'll make sure it's on the agenda.
Can I just Miller Middle School, none of the others?
Well, they came and talked to us
You
about
gave
it.
some
We
to
already
QI
did.
We've
Roberts
already given
already when they
QI
came and
Roberts and-
asked, and you've given to
the
all
high
3 high
schools.
schools.
Yeah,
Yes,
so it would just be Price in addition. I don't know if Jenkins
Yeah.
has one.
yes, they do.
Yeah.
Jenkins has.
So we
it.
can discuss that.
Yes.
Right, just
At that
if it's
time.
on the agenda with action too. Great.
And that's all.
Oh, thank you. I did go to Mary Poppins with 4 little girls that are my granddaughters, and they were overwhelmed when Mary flew through the theater. They said they were used to seeing Miss Crawford fly on a broom, but it was different with the umbrella. But I did talk with the superintendent about some of these corporate sponsors that have put time and money to this. And Mr. Douglas, if there is a way that they could find any way to gather together their cost in any way, shape, form, or fashion of what they put into it, I'd like to maybe look at giving them a tax deductible contribution letter on behalf of the district school board, because it takes a lot of personal
Rhonda can do that.
effort and money to go into these things. So with that, I'm looking
do
forward
that,
to the
right?
baseball game. I can't say enough about our schools today with the lockdown and the terrible shooting that occurred in Palatka. But with that, that concludes my presentation. I mean,
Yeah, Mr. Chair, quickly, just clarification on the taxing, that's a pretty simple thing. I mean, Rhonda can just,
We do letters now.
she can just issue that, yeah.
I did it for, I mentioned to one of the people that we've done it for many years, but to calculate hours and things like that, I thought it might be appropriate.
No, I think you very much so.
Probably good clarification, but thank you, Mr. Wright.
I deal with that
Ms.
every day.
Jorgensen.
Well, it's good to be back. I'm really back. I really don't have too much. I've watched the former board meetings. I'm looking forward to be able to attend all these end of year graduations and things. Before I had my back surgery, I could not stand on my feet for more than 5 minutes. So I have been very limited in where I'm able to go without pain. I could stand for 10 minutes, but it was blinding. So now I have a miracle happened, and I'm fine, and I can't wait to get up there and shake hands for an hour and a half. And cut a rug at prom. But I'll be able to. That's, thank everybody for their prayers, and I'm just looking forward to getting back into things.
Thank you. Mr. Douglas?
We had a good workshop today on the collegiate high school and EDGE. We're working on that, tying up loose ends there. The Campbell building, the sale of that is underway. I hope to have some good progress and updates for you as soon as possible. And just working on some other matters within the district, but things are going well in the legal department.
Thank you. Ms. Criswell?
Well, tomorrow is Teacher Appreciation Day. This whole week is Teacher Appreciation Week, and I have to tell you, there are no words that can adequately express my gratitude for all that our teachers do, and I'll be sending this message to them tomorrow. We have to thank them for their hard work and dedication, for caring, and for always going above and beyond for the children of Putnam County. It's the reason we should honor them every day, not just one day a year. A reminder that we are the largest organization in the county, the largest employer in the county. We touch the lives of most of our citizens through their children every day. These teachers have that opportunity daily, and that is powerful. The work they do in their classrooms every day is powerful. It has the potential to change lives and to change Putnam County for the better. That is power. They are superheroes. I never forget that, and I never take it for granted, and so I publicly want to thank all of our 700 teachers for making a difference in the lives of Putnam County's children every day. Mary Poppins is amazing. You've all said it. I won't go there, but I tell you, I got to go backstage Friday night after the first performance and talk to the kids. It is truly amazing. You're right, the talent we have in this county, and we have children in that production from all across the county in all age groups. So it's really exciting for all of them, plus the many elementary children that have been bused to the performances. It's an opportunity that these children in Putnam County may never have otherwise. So whatever they've spent on it, and I have a figure, but I'll tell you later, it's worth it. It truly is worth it. Our Career Tech Superstars, if you sit in that program and listen as we give out those awards to the achievements of those students, it just will boggle your mind. Renee Huff, as our Director of Career Tech Education, and her staff do an amazing job keeping up with these students and making sure they have what they need. And this year we have 107 students who have completed industry certification. And that is tremendous because they can walk out of high school and get a job in that industry that they are interested in. So they continue to have those numbers climb every year, and I'm really proud of what they accomplish. We also have the regional semifinals tonight, which you all have talked about, so I won't talk about it more, but that is very exciting, and I know those young men who have played together for a long time, the camaraderie they have, the excitement, is
We
just,
are
oh my goodness, they are just so excited. And Palatka over the years have had winning baseball, football teams, but it never gets old and it's always exciting. We have next week, coming up on May 10th, at the Civic Center in the Ravine Gardens, our Putnam County School District High School Showcase. This is a big deal. It's the first time we've had this. We are inviting and sending this information to the chamber, to elected officials, to community members, to parents. We want everybody to come by and spend some time looking at what we have available to students at all of our high schools. People don't realize how much we have available. This is their opportunity to walk through. It won't take long. The schools will be there with their presentations. They want to show off, and we want you to come and see what they're doing and what they have available. So that's going to be exciting. And last but not least, I told Marcia Marinello, who is our director of Keep Putnam Beautiful, she is really working hard on the May 21st cleanup from 8 o'clock to noon on the 21st. They hope to have 500 people. We're getting that information out, of course, to our schools. So if schools want to participate in groups, or if they're a part of a volunteer group, we want them to know that this is available to them. It's going to be a big deal, a big day all across the county. So just wanted to make you aware of that as well. And that's all I have today. Thank you.
All right, if I have any other comments?
I'm sorry, Saturday is the 5K race. Anybody, it's not too late. Feed the Need. Get out and show up and support the wonderful program we have. It's wonderful. Thank you, Nikki Hawthorne, for all
Yes.
the hard work.
Thank
All right,
you.
With that, I can conclude the meeting. Thank you.